Hello. Welcome, welcome to my ceiling, I guess. Let's knock that down a little bit. Welcome, welcome to the show. Good morning. You may have noticed the eggplant. I've decided I was gifted these fine, beautiful eggplants, and then I let them kind of sit around and they've gotten wrinkly. So I'm going to cook both of them today. Fortunately, I don't need nice fresh eggplants for this. Slightly wrinkly ones are fine. We're making baba ganoush, which I've had, but I've never made, which is an awful lot of things that I cook on the show here is things I've had, enjoyed, but never made myself. My sound mixer's peaking again. I was doing that last time on Saturday, as though the microphone has become more sensitive for some reason. I don't know what's the deal with that. What's the deal with microphones? Yeah, and to go with it, we're going to try making pita bread again. I made pita bread quite a while ago now, and it was really exciting because it was the first time I'd ever made it, and it worked really well. They poofed up. They were great. We're going to try that again, but I've forgotten everything I did. So, starting from scratch, see if it works out as well this time. It might not. It also occurred to me just now, and then the timer ran out, and I had to jump over here real quick. But I'm going to go right now before I start and cut up. Well, no, there'll be a downtime in a little bit. I can do that then. My basil still keeps trying to flower, so I'm going to have to go cut it aggressively. Part of the baba ganoush recipe I'm looking at, for my reference, coming from today, the Mediterranean dish, has optional add spices. It suggests sumac, which I don't have any sumac, but I have a huge abundance of basil, which is not the same thing at all. But sure, basil baba ganoush, red basil baba ganoush. I also don't have any yogurt, which is not required, but I have some kefir, so I might add a dab of that just for the funk, the funkitude. But step the first. There's two things we've got going on here that are going to take a little bit of time. One, we've got to roast these guys and then cool them. And two, we've got to make dough and rise it. For which I'm going to break out the machine and we're going to try that rising function again. Good morning. We're going to try that rising function again, but this time with already warmed dough. And I'm not sure which thing I should do first, and I should decide quickly and immediately. We're looking for the dough to rubble in size. If the proofing function on the machine works, that will be the answer. These guys have to roast for a while. These recipe pages are terrible. These guys have to roast for 40 minutes. You know what we need to do? First thing we need to do is cut these guys and salt the exposed side. That's the first step. So then I can start mix. So we're going to it looks like we're going to jump back and forth between the two things pretty much the whole time. But these need a brief sweat. They've already lost some of their moisture just because they're a little bit old and wrinkled up. So this shouldn't be a huge problem, but we need to split them. And they're a little bit soft on account of being wrinkly. So be careful. But we're going to split them and salt the exposed surface to draw out some of that bitter stuff, that bitter liquid that lives inside of eggplants. In fact, I think I'm going to run some slits along them. They don't need to stay intact anyways. We're going to scoop it out later. If you do this, the thing I'm doing right now, which I don't recommend, but if you do this, be very careful. Eggplant skin is not tough enough to stop the point of the blade, and your hand is right on the other side of it. They do look good. They looked really good when they were fresh. They've gone a little wrinkly just because they sat around. But they are homegrown from our friend over at Fox Farms eggplants. Eggplants are just coming at the farmer's market, and I was looking at them like, ooh, those look really good. But I've got some. I'm going to put them on a... I'm going to put them on the small rack so that they can sit over the sink while I work on other things. So step one. This is step one. But good morning. How are you? Okay, when the water starts to bead up on the surface, I will then come over and flip them so that they can drip. I don't want to flip them now because the salt will just fall off. It hasn't had a chance to stay. Okay, that's step one. Let's dust the extra salt off. I did visit the farmer's market this morning. In fact, I got back just moments before stream time. I didn't pick anything up. It all looks really good, but I've got a lot of stuff already. I've been stocking up, and unfortunately, the market didn't offer anything except for pineapple. Somebody's growing pineapple, which is amazing. Okay, let's start this stuff. I don't think this is the same recipe I used last time, but I don't remember what last recipe I used last time, and I didn't look it up. So we get out our yeast. I've already got the flour tower, the tower of flour, over here to the side. And we need a bowl. Large bowl. Add. Makes quite a bit. This makes quite a bit. We're going to use the big bowl. Selena, we're making, at the moment we're making the start of a pita bread, but we're also making baba ganoush. Welcome in. Hello. Good morning. You're first. We need some warm water, which I am just going to get out of the tap. I made pita once before, and it went really, really well. And I have forgotten everything that I did, and I don't even remember what website I used for my reference recipe at that time. So we're doing it again. I don't remember what I did. So it might be a failure. Who knows? I was super excited when it was a big success last time. I was so excited when it was a big success last time, but I have forgotten. Too bad I didn't review my old show. Yep, I hate listening back to myself. Sound of my own voice is terrible. But warm water and some yeast, and this is instant yeast as opposed to active dry yeast. So we probably don't need to do this step, but I'm doing it anyways just because I'm following directions. And actually a very small amount of sugar for this one. Lots of yeast, not a lot of sugar. Just enough to wake them up, I think. Which again, I'm not sure is necessary. Which is fine. I didn't want sweet. I don't want anything sweet anyways, so. The purpose of this step in traditional baking is to check that the yeast isn't dead. Well, I'll take that to heart, Spear. Welcome in. Good morning. I'm going to get this mixed around. I feel like doing this, even though it's instant yeast instead of active dry. I feel like doing this while the part where you dissolve it in the water, not necessarily the sugar, the part where you dissolve it in the water, helps distribute it in the flour better. This is supposed to stand until it bubbles. And those bubbles don't count because those bubbles are from me whisking. It's supposed to stand until it starts to develop a foam. That supposedly is all the water we need. Oh, add half a cup of flour at this point. Okay. I can do that. The recipe is all in volumetrics, which is not good. I don't like it. I criticize you, the Mediterranean dish, for this decision. So yeah, I've wanted to revisit pita since our big success. Since our big success last time, but I haven't done so, and now it's been long enough that I forgot everything. And today I was inspired to do it by the fact that I had these two eggplants that I need to use. So I was looking up for ways to use eggplant, which led me to baba ganoush, which I'm actually uncertain which culture that comes from. Okay, let's find out. Baba ganoush. I have no idea. I have no idea. Lebanese. Interesting. The reference I'm using just says Mediterranean. And the picture of the person looks Mediterranean. Okay, well, chalk that down to a new cuisine explored here on the channel. Let's see, we're waiting. We've already got a wait time. I am going to take advantage of this brief wait time to make myself a coffee, because I've not yet had a coffee. This morning, I slept. I overslept. I got up just at 9 o'clock, checked the clock, I was like, oh shoot, it's 9. I was gonna go to the farmer's market before I started, and I was also gonna like not jump right into doing stuff in the day and sort of wind up. But I didn't. I had to roll right out of bed. I walked over to the farmer's market and I walked back with nothing because, as previously mentioned, stuff looks really good, but I'm currently well stocked and nothing was jumping out. Although it looks like I should have gotten a cucumber, because I can see now that the cucumber I've got in here is very creepy. We're not going to show that off because it is creepitude. I'll keep that in mind. Get a fresh cucumber next time. Wow, that went creepy fast. Huh. Weird. Huh. Weird. I'm gonna make a coffee. That's a good thing. That takes just about the right amount of time for all these things to do their things. It was super nice when I left this morning, but an hour later, coming back, it was already pretty warm. And I hear next week we're supposed to get the heat wave that has been hitting other parts of the country. It's supposed to start arriving here next week. We've been shielded from it. Canada has been giving us all that smoke. The smoke has been riding down to us on the northerly winds. So we haven't been enjoying the smoke, but it's northerly winds, so it's been keeping us relatively cool. Well, we're losing the northerly winds, which means no more smoke, but it also means we're going to start getting the heat creep in from the south that those northerly Canadian smoke winds have been fending off. It's a trade-off, and honestly, I'd rather have intermittent smoke than continual blasting heat. But I did actually go to the market. There's good stuff there. The mushroom guy was there. I didn't grab any mushrooms. There's blueberries in. There was somebody at the market with pineapples. It's actually the tomato guy had pineapples, which was a surprise. I've grown my own pineapple before. I received a pineapple as a gift, a pineapple plant as a gift that had a fruit on it at the time. And I took care of it, and the fruit ripened up, and I ate it. I harvested it and I ate it. And that was the best pineapple I've ever eaten because it was properly ripe. The ones you get at the store are deliberately harvested slightly underripe because really ripe pineapples don't ship as well. Super ripe pineapples don't ship as well because they're more delicate. So they deliberately harvest them a little underripe so they're more sturdy for shipping. But if you can get them really ripe, and when I say really ripe, I mean the outer surface of the pineapple, the rind, has gone like bright yellow, like golden yellow color. They're so perfectly good on the inside. I believe you need a proper like greenhouse, which I think this guy has. I don't know where the one I got received as a gift came from. I imagine it was also a greenhouse. I've tried growing my own pineapple, and I can get the plants to grow, but I cannot get them to fruit. Now, I don't have an ideal setup at all, but it's definitely possible if you've got it, because the plants will grow. They're surprisingly tenacious things. They obviously can't live outside. They're not winter hardy, but the plants will grow. But I can't get mine to fruit because I don't have a good enough setup. Supposed to foam the yeast a little bit, and that yeast does not look very foamy to me. Does it look to you? I wonder if my yeast is old. Expiration date on the yeast. I keep it in the fridge because it's supposed to keep it longer. But is there an expiration on the fridge? Ooh, actually, this is a little bit old. My yeast might be old yeast. We're going to add a dab of white to my cup. What do you think? Should we soldier forth with the dough? It's bubbled a little bit, so it's not like it's dead, but it's underwhelming, and I might have to refresh my supply of yeast soon. Looks like I didn't use it up as I bought a big jar of yeast thinking, oh, I'll make tons of bread. And then I ended up making some bread, but not enough to use the whole jar of yeast. I think we've reached the point where it might be getting a little old. But yeah, you can grow pineapples in Wisconsin. It's definitely possible. The guy at the farmer's market today was selling whole plants, which were fruiting. And in the summer, once they've gotten that far, you can put them outside, and they should continue fruiting and produce. The issue I have with them is I can't get them to start fruiting. They don't like it. They're a nice decorative. They look very tropical, and they're very drought hardy. So you can forget to water them, and they'll be okay for a little while at least. Coffee. Okay. With the coffee ready, and this stuff. Oh yeah, it's doing the thing. It's doing the thing. You can see it. I disturbed it slightly, and now it's sort of forming. We're going to soldier forth with the pita, assuming that everything is good. I just put my teaspoon away. I did. We're going to add some salt. Some olive oil, for which I've got another measure. So we've got half a cup of flour, a cup of water, warm to the touch, warm not hot, 2 teaspoons of yeast, 2 tablespoons of oil, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, and half a teaspoon of sugar just to wake the yeast up. No additional water. We add now 2 cups of flour. Jen! 10 months! Wow. Has it been 10 months already? Amazing. I've lost track. Oh. You probably learned more than I have. I keep forgetting stuff. This is my half cup measure, so I'm going to give 4 scoops of this. And I can't show this to you. Oh, I can. Okay. This is how I'm scooping. This is how I try to scoop when I'm scooping flour, and I've only got a thing that measures in volume. I'll scoop, and then I'll give it this shake to level it. I'll try to get because I really don't want to compact it. Is what it is. That's what gets you with volume measures for flour. Is it's super compactable. Oh, well, I'm glad you have fun. I have fun too, and I'm always glad when people are here. Never be afraid to ask questions. I love answering questions as part of this. Never be afraid to ask any questions about what I'm doing. Edutainment, after all. We're going to start this with our wooden spoon because it's going to be real sticky to start with, and I don't want it to glue up my hands. Once it's pretty well clinging to itself, we will switch to hands. Switch to throwing hands. How's your morning going? Ooh. Oh, ad break. Okay, I've noticed a new thing. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if any of you can see it. But it pops up now as in my streamer chat. Ad break in progress, right in the chat, as opposed to having to look over at the ad tracker. Can any of you see that? There's currently an ad running. Garlic powder by dehydrating flour running through. Interesting. Dehydrating flour? Dehydrating garlic. I have not played with the dehydrator function. My magic pot here has a dehydrator function as one of the many modes, and I'm excited to use it. Dehydrating flour. Flour, of course, is known for being extremely wet. Okay, we've got a shaggy dough that's still sticking a little bit, but not really badly. I think we push forth shaggy mass, dust a tiny bit of flour on your hands, and push it around in here just to pick up any bits and kind of make it stick together. We want to clean the bowl out. But I've done 1,000% more baking since starting this channel than I ever did before. That's the biggest thing that I have experienced. So much more bread, something that I've avoided in the past. But you know, it's been fun. It's been fun doing all this bread. I wish I had a better work surface for bread. My space is restricted here, and I make do, but my space is definitely a little bit restricted here. Ooh, sticky dough. So knead this until it's smooth, but we don't want to add too much extra flour to it. It's supposed to be a little bit damp, but I don't want it outright sticking to everything. So we might need just a scooch more flour. There are so many types of breads. I've lost track of the ones we've made. I think my favorites, one of my favorites definitely has been was the previous time I made a pita. Because it was so fun to watch them just work. Like when I got them on the stove and started griddling them up, and they worked so well. The other one that worked really well was the first time, not the second time, but the first time I made French bread, and I went through all the steps and did all the fussy little things, and it came out so perfectly, and it was so good. I literally ate a loaf of bread that day because once I started on that first baguette, or it wasn't French bread, it was baguette. I ate an entire baguette that day. Because when I started on that first baguette, I just kept going because it was so good. Bread is one of those great pleasures, and it is no surprise that every culture in the world has developed some kind of bread. we got to go back to the baguettes. The second time I made the baguettes, I shortcut it a little bit. I tried doing it like a slightly easier way, and they didn't come out nearly as well. I think it was actually because I forgot the steam bath. This dough really wants to go sticky on me. I'm just trying to get to the point where it's just barely tacky, not sticking to the countertop, which it keeps trying to do, or to me, but just kind of like not sticking and leaving behind any bits. Sticking and then let it releasing is what I'm shooting for. Because it's supposed to be a bit of a wet dough. We're also only supposed to knead it for a couple of minutes. It doesn't need to be a really super well developed. I roll it around like that to pick up little strays. It doesn't need to be a really super well developed gluten, because we want it to be kind of soft. It has to be strong enough to hold together, but we want it to be kind of soft. We're getting to that tacky stage, which is just what I was looking for. Oop, we're sticking a little bit. Keep sticking just a tiny bit. I hear you're moisten. I hear you're moisten. I will get to it as soon as my hands are free. We're going to switch bowls as well. We're not going to use the large bowl. We're going to use a smaller bowl that fits inside the machine. It's a nice soft dough. I quite like it. Kind of fold it in on itself to form a ball. Okay. First of all, we're going to turn the machine on. Machine, on. Good morning, machine. We're going to see how large of a bowl fits in the machine. And we're going to use the largest one that fits. I don't want to put it directly in the cooking vessel of the bowl. This is the largest one I've got that fits. I don't want to put it directly in the cooking vessel of the bowl because I'm worried about getting it back out. We're going to oil this. Lightly. Okay, that's the size we're starting with. We retrieve it, place it inside of our magic machine, close the lid, rotate this thing until it says proof. Set it to proof. Set it to proof and wash the oil off my hands. Oop, be careful not to get soap on my eggplants. That would suck. Okay, with that proofing, we're going to roast the eggplants. And we're going to have some time to chill. Fortunately, pita bread does not need to bake it cooks very quickly on the stove. So the majority of the time there for that is just proofing, and we're going to stop it as soon as it's doubled in size. Flour tower can go briefly away. Bowl away. Okay. Switching back over to our Ghanoush. Coffee. Oh yeah, I had to moisten. Thank you for the moisten. I'll be moistening with coffee. Moist. Let's bring back our eggplants. They've changed since we last saw them. They've developed little brown spots. And the salt has turned into little beads of moisture. And these slashes I made in there have widened out. These are all good things. But we can't look at this side of them, because we need to roast them face down. And oil the dish so that they do not stick, and also so that we can have a good thermal contact. Don't forget, oil does two things in cooking. It prevents sticking, but it also creates a thermal contact between the surface of the cooking vessel and the food. So you can get much more even cooking, and it pulls the heat up into all the nooks and crannies and the irregular surfaces. Spreads the heat out over the surface of the food, so you don't just get little scorch spots right where it's touching the metal. And instead you get a nice even roast. I should have been preheating my oven this whole time, and I forgot. So we're going to do that now. And then be embarrassed because now we have to wait for the oven to preheat. All the other ingredients that go into baba ganoush, aside from the eggplant, are actually uncooked. I learned a fun fact about baba ganoush while doing reading for this exact project. The French name for baba ganoush is caviar l'aubergine, eggplant caviar. Which is, you know, promising for how delicious it is. That's a pretty fun fact. We got a perfectly shaped one here. This is like the emoji eggplant. And I couldn't find any pomegranate, which is an optional garnish. And I don't have any sumac, which is an optional garnish. Both of those would give a fruity but sour note. I don't really have, there's already lemon going in. I don't really have another thing in that realm to use here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut all the flowering tops off of my scissors. There they are. All the flowering tops off my. I know, and I don't. I probably could find sumac if I went out looking for it, but I didn't think of that. I did go out specifically looking for pomegranate, and I guess it's not in season, so I couldn't find any. I'm going to cut all the flowering tops off of my basil, and we're going to add basil as an optional spice to this, which is not traditional. But basil is also a Mediterranean herb, so it's not that far off. My basil has been flowering aggressively. And I just need to use it. So there's going to be quite a bit of basil coming in when I come in. And I'm going to be out here for a good several minutes cutting all of these little flowering heads that the basil has thrown up at me. Some of my purple basil has turned green, so we have a mix now. I should make pesto. I should make purple pesto with all of this excess basil. I have to deposit my basil. My hand is full. And then come back. More basil. Coming back. The purple color in these basils really seems to hold. Some purple fruits and vegetables don't stay purple when you cook them. But so far, when I use this basil, it retains its purple, which is good, because then you get that nice, pretty, rich purple color in the finished product. So we could make some very attractive what's it called? I just said the word. Pesto. Purple pesto. Out of it. I'm going to keep this variety of basil in mind next year as well. I might actually, since they're flowering so aggressively, I might let some of these just go to seed and collect the seeds. Since I started these from seed, I should space them out a little bit more next time. They're a little bit crowded because I didn't expect them all. It was a store-bought seed, and I didn't expect them all to do so well. And they all did really well. Okay, there's definitely some more flower heads starting already. So probably as of tomorrow, I'll have more flowers to cut. There's lemon going in this already. There, more basil. Like I said, I should make pesto. I've got so much basil. This is just the flower trimmings. I could cut way more from the plants without really harming them. Oh, Jen, I heard that. I heard that in the, oh, whose channel was that? Sorry to hear about that. If you've got the time, gardening is a great way to supply for yourself and also take up some of that free time, so you're not thinking about it quite so hard. But be careful with the heat. And also, starting plants now can be a little bit iffy. There are definitely some things that'll come up and be pretty happy right now, but some things, like if you're going to grow eggplant, anything with fruit, they're not going to produce before the end of the year if you start them now. You could probably get herbs started now and have them producing pretty well for the rest of the summer. I'm putting the eggplant in a little bit early. That one hadn't clicked yet, but I want to get them started. Also, because I want to get them off of this table so I can scrape this. I remember hearing when you got that job, or I think I heard when you got that job, and you were so excited about it. The shiso that I've been growing, I need to take a picture of my garden at some point and just put it on the... I need to use that Discord that I set up and invited some people to post pictures. Or take pictures from my garden and put them on my Instagram, or both. Scrape the dough bits off of my countertop there. The shiso that I saved from the back alley has been growing extremely well, and I've just noticed, just now, there have been some volunteer shisos sprouting up in the alley. Well, you're welcome to join the Discord. It's currently super inactive because I don't post anything there, and there's only like 4 or 5 members because I haven't been pushing it. Because I haven't. It's a catch-22. There's hardly anyone in it, so I don't post anything in it, which means there's nothing in it for people to look at, which means there's no reason to invite more people. So it's kind of a cyclical, like, death spiral. Let me drop, for anyone viewing right now, all 7 of you, let me grab the invite. Oh, I forgot how to do this. Let me drop this right here. You're invited. And I will try to make a point of remembering to actually use the Discord and also learn how to manage it properly. I set it up and I don't know how to manage it properly because I haven't had to. So yeah, I'll try to make, especially since Twitter has been dying, and Instagram is nice for pictures, but it's not good for chit chat. Switching over to Discord seems like a good alternative. We have just a moment to think about things. By a moment, I mean several moments to think about things here. Shiitake mushrooms should usually never be the main mushroom in a mushroom thing. I would add a few of them for flavor and have the rest of the mushroom thing be something else. Buttons or oysters or portobellos or some other like bulkier mushroom. Shiitakes have a very strong concentrated flavor, and I can see why that would happen. Learn the, I guess, practice and learn the balance. Let's see, I've got a lemon. lemon. I've got a lot of limes. I still post Go Live, and I might post pictures there every once in a while, but the way Twitter's been going these days, I'm going to keep posting Go Lives on Twitter, but there are other options at this point, and the way Twitter has been going, I'm withdrawing from it. I don't want to deal with Musk's bullshit anymore. So I'm not dropping my Twitter. If you follow me on Twitter, great. But don't feel obligated. There are other places. If all you want to see is the pictures, Instagram is going to be a good spot for that. Now that I've actually invited people to the Discord, I'll have to set it all up and make sure that it's not a troll fest. Oh my god. Oh my god. Jen's already posting stuff in the Discord. We'll get that set up. I'll figure out all the nonsense over there. I have some friends who run their own Discords, and I can just ask them, how does this work, rather than trying to figure it out myself. 2 cloves of garlic. They're pretty large, wide cloves, so I'm only going to go for 2. Yeah, that's the thing. Twitter is a place to post about the stream where I could just post publicly. The Discord would be too, if I used it properly. Because yeah, that's the thing about Instagram. Instagram's great for the photos, but it's not for like chatter communication. Ooh, that doesn't look good, huh? I guess we're going to cut that part off. It doesn't look good. And have a little bit less garlic in our finished result. The garlic here in this recipe is going in raw. We're going to take that. Take that little gnarly bit off of there. I don't like the looks of it. It's probably just a blemish, but whatevs. These were pretty large cloves to begin with. What was I saying? Raw. Garlic is raw. Since the garlic is going in raw, we're not going to use a ton of it. We're not going overboard this time. Cooking garlic kind of tamps down the... Oh, these ad breaks keep sneaking up on me. Cooking garlic kind of tamps down the intensity of it. So this is going to be a more of a punch to this stuff. But we're still going to go with our typical process of mashing it well in advance to really let the flavors develop. I don't want the little bits of skin on there. Scrape it down, and we're going to clean the grater here immediately. Last time, I forgot to do that. Typically what I do is I just put it in a cup of water so it doesn't harden up. Because when garlic hardens, when it dries out, it becomes very hard to work with. We're back from the ad. But we're going to do that right away. We're just going to rinse it off. Because as always, garlic is much sugarier than you think it is, and the sugars in it really love to harden up on the microplanes, and then you have to soak the thing to get the garlic to release. When I should just be doing that and rinsing it off while it's still fresh. Especially since I need to dry that because we're going to use that for zesting the lemon later. The lemon zest is probably going to be with the stand-in for the sumac in this recipe, since we're already using the juice of that lemon. And then we're adding some basil. My oven still hasn't actually technically gotten up to temperature, which is a little bit weird. And it's been... How long is this pita supposed to rise for? The thing said an hour, but I don't know about that. Blah, 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 blah. Mash, tahini, garlic, lemon, yogurt, salt, pepper, sumac, Aleppo. I don't have any Aleppo. What's a good stand-in for Aleppo pepper? Aleppo is a lightly spicy chili, so don't just substitute it for cayenne. So we substitute it with maybe a half paprika, half cayenne blend. Yeah, I said it before you did. That should be a pretty easy one. But that part's optional anyways. Olive oil and pine nuts. And wouldn't you know it? Wouldn't you know it? I've got pine nuts. $2. Got them in the bargain bin. Got them in the bargain bin. Pine nuts are usually like more expensive than I'm willing to go for a thing like this. I've seen a really... Sad I couldn't find the pomegranate, because I've seen a really beautiful plate of baba ganoush that was garnished with toasted pine nuts and pomegranate. And the pomegranate arils are the same size as the pine nuts, so they go really well together as a sort of this thing. It was really beautifully done combo. I'm going to peek at our dough. Ooh! I interrupted it, but that's fine. It wasn't in a luck mode. It's definitely gotten bigger. I don't know that it's quite doubled, but it's close. We're going to give it another 5 minutes, and then we're going to pull it out, I think. Coffee. Coffee. Yeah, I'm not gonna zest. No, I should zest the lemon now, which means we need to dry off the... I'm gonna juice the lemon before I need the zest, so... Let's get the zest off of that lemon so I can have it set to the side. I need a second one of these is what I need, because I often have to wash my existing one to use it for another thing, because it's so useful in general. Need a bowl to catch our lemon zest once it comes off the lemon. And again, I picked this trick up from a YouTube chef. Specifically, I think last time I never said who it was. I picked this trick up from YouTube chef Nicole Hendizada, who currently works with Mythical Kitchen. And it makes a ton of sense. Zest so that the zest lands on the top. Zest from the top instead of zesting from the bottom. Instead of doing this and then peaking and then doing this and then peaking, you can just zest continually, and the zest collects on the top of the zester, on the top of the microplane for you, rather than having to keep it over a dish where it's going to fall. Just do it this way. Isosceles. Yes, we are indeed flaying the lemon alive. Welcome in. Oh yeah, and zesting a lemon smells so good. Zesting any citrus does, but lemons are special. I agree. Lemons are kind of like the perfect citrus. I like limes, and there are definitely applications where limes are the better pick, but for just a citrus by itself, I'm not a big fan of oranges, so that helps me not call out oranges as the best. Look at all that zest. You know what they say, if life gives you lemons, make lemon oil. The implication of that phrase, of course, is that giving you lemons is a bad thing. But I love lemons. And they're good for you. So if life gives you lemons, be thankful. You've received delicious lemons. And you make lemon oil out of them, which keeps a lot longer, gives you that lovely lemon flavor whenever you want it, and sells for a hell of a lot more than lemonade does. Finish my coffee real quick. But good morning, isosceles. How are you doing? How's it going? I'm going to pull my dough out and ask you guys if you think it's doubled in size. Is this even... No, it's just gently warm. What do you think? Is that doubled in size? Did we hit it? It's just gently warm to the touch. It's actually slightly It only goes up to 95, so technically it's ever so slightly cooler than my body temp. I wish this thing would just go to 100 and I'd set it to that, because they say that the ideal temperature for yeast is 100 to 110, and this one doesn't go above 95, which is a little weird. I think that we are doubled in size, and our top is getting a little poofy. So I think we can safely move on with the pita. Let's see, that was the one I was using to scrape the dough bowl. And we can put the machine back to sleep. Thank you, machine. Well, the proofing function worked great for that. It's definitely warmer in the tub, in the machine, than it is in the room. So I'll chalk that up to a success. We will say that previously when we had a failure with it, it's because the dough was quite cold and the machine is not contributing enough heat to really overcome fridge cold. So back to the pita recipe. Doubles in size. Deflate. Place on the clean work surface. Divide into pieces. Okay, deflate. We already cleaned our work surface. Deflate. Clean work surface. No more kneading, just divide it into pieces. I used my as the scraper. In half, and in half one more time. Stick that one on that one. Form these wedges into spheres. Try to squish the air out of them a little bit. Again, they don't need any more kneading. They just need to be spherified because we want them to be circles at the end. We don't want triangles. Pitas are circles. I can smell the eggplant. That's a good sign that we're getting in on the roast there. Nope, don't stick together. They're definitely still willing to stick to each other at this point. Oop, and me. Whoa, that one really just immediately stuck to me. I guess I wore the oil off my hands. Okay. We're going to want to put them on a tray so that I can move them around. We don't want them to stick to the tray, so we're going to lightly oil the tray. But very, very lightly this time. We don't want a lot of extra oil involved at this stage. So just a dab. This would be a good use for a spray if I had an olive oil spray ready. Remember that sprayer, that oil sprayer I got? Well, I used it a couple times. I worked out how to use it properly, because the first time I used it, it seemed like it was terrible. And then I worked out how to use it, and it's okay. I'm going to say it's okay. It's not super great, but it's not bad. It's just a little underwhelming. Okay, there's our dough balls, kind of spaced so that they won't touch each other. Set them to the side here. Wash the oil off my hand one more time. Towel. Okay. We're going to clean this up real quick too. I'll have to give this an actual wash because now it's been oiled, but short term I can just wipe it down. Oop. The dough balls are moving because this is not level. They're trying to slide into each other because it wasn't level where I had them. We need my tea towel, which is in the other room because I keep putting them away in here for some reason. Tea towel, which we lay across the top to prevent them from completely drying out. The towel helps keep a little bit of humidity in there, and also to make sure that nothing gets on them like dust. Yeah, let's get my cutting board back. The board. A ton of basil. Remember the basil? Here it is. A ton of basil. This is more than I need for what I'm doing. I probably need that much. But it's a lot of flowers and stems, so we'll add one more flowering stem. We're just gonna mince the. Yes, exactly. I was saying that earlier. I'm gonna make. I'm not gonna make pesto right now, but I've got so much basil, it would make a beautiful purple pesto out of this. Because this purple color, things like purple carrots and even beets, when you cook them, a lot of the time the colors can fade. This stuff, so far, has been a really persistent purple. It doesn't break down quite so easily. Granted, I haven't cooked it really intensely, but I have thrown it in a saute, and it didn't just go brown. It maintained its purpliness. So I think you could make a pretty nice looking purple pesto out of, where's my knife? My big knife. Oh, I used it. What did I use it for? Oh, I used it to cut the eggplants, which means it's got almost nothing on it. I think you can make a really attractive purple pesto and not lose your color. Now, pesto, I like pesto. And I don't make my own pesto when I'm not growing my own basil, because it takes a lot of basil. But since I am, and it's being so productive, we'll do that. We'll do that at some point. Not today. That's not today's project. That leaf escaped, but it... But we want this really minced up into little flakes. In part because I want to mix it in and I want it to be really consistent, but also because the stems that are in there, you can eat basil stems, but they are a little tougher, so having them be really minced up ensures that you're not going to hit a little tough stemmy bit. The stems further down the plant, these are up by the flowers. These are like little tender flower shoots. The stems further down the plant are definitely a little gnarly. The ones up by the flowers are definitely less gnarly, but still need a little taking care of. Oops. Don't lose. Why am I doing this with a knife? Why am I board scraping with a knife when I literally have the board scraper out? And that's what it's for. We will get this in a bowl as well. I've been very impressed with this variety of basil so far. It's called Red Reuben, and I got it as a seed packet, and I've had spotty luck with store-bought seed packets. The tarragon I bought this year to start my own tarragon, none of them sprouted. This stuff, all of them appear to have sprouted, so my box that I planted them in is really crowded. I wasn't sure they were coming up, so I actually bought a separate basil seedling, which is just a normal green variety, and that's been doing quite well as well. But that was already like established when I picked it up. But I actually think these are doing better than the other one, and it might be because they're crowded. They're shading each other a little bit, so they're not getting the soil underneath them isn't getting toasted and dried out because they're providing themselves quite a lot of shade. Which is neat. Very thankful to have that planter box. It's much easier to grow something like this. Your thyme is flowering. One of my thymes, slay! Oh my goodness. Remember these commands. I never use these commands. Ugh. Ugh. Okay. Slay, welcome in. We're in a little bit of a lull between stages of the project. We have eggplants roasting off in the oven. We have our dough balls for the pita resting for a moment. They actually probably have rested long enough, and we can get to the next stage on them. We just minced up some purple basil. For those of you in chat unfamiliar, Slay is a streamer. Streams a variety of games, like, it's been a while since you played Kerbal. I was going to say Kerbal, but it's been a while since you played Kerbal. You've been playing Cities recently. Everyone's favorite, Cities Skylines. I say give him a check. Give him a look. Don't need these 3 bowls just yet, so we're going to move them to the side so that I have space, because we're going to form our pitas here on the board. We need some flour. We also need to get out our skillet. I'm going to get the big one out so that I have room to maneuver it. Get some heat on that because it needs to be hot before we start. And it can be heating the whole time. It's cast iron, so it'll be heating the whole time without any danger. Shape the pitas. Use a roll them into circles. Lift and turn frequently so it doesn't stick. Okay, let's get to that. Get out my pin. This pin is one of those things that I held off buying for a long time because I was hopeful that I would find one at the Goodwill. All the ones I ever find at Goodwill are those ones with the spinny handles instead of a nice French pin like this. This is the ideal rolling pin. So I bought this one brand new on account of I wanted a nice rolling pin. And we're gonna grab a ball, smoosh it, give it a quick roll, flip, give it a quick roll, oop, flip. Frequent flipping helps us maintain a circle and also helps us prevent stickage. And we're going for that's a 6-inch circle, and it's already pretty thin. The recipe says go for 8-inch circles, but I think our dough might be a little bit less risen than theirs was. But then again, this might not be the same kind of pita as I was making before, because it is probably a different recipe, because I don't remember where I got the recipe the first time. I don't want to go any thinner than that, I think, because I want it to have a chance of poofing up. Once our pan is hot, we can just slap this guy in there. The first one, it's like pancakes. I'm expecting the first one to be a little weird. That dough ball was also on the smaller side of the ones we've got. It's not the smallest. We've got ones even smaller. But a quarter-inch thick. This is much thinner. This one might be much too thin. But I guess we will see. I think this one's a bit too thin from the rolling. Oh, how long have those eggplants been in there? Does anyone remember when I put the eggplants in? Has it been an hour? Oh, there's an ad in progress. People can't see me. I'm embarrassed. I'm going to go stand in the corner. You're back from the ad. Does anyone remember when I put the eggplants in there? They probably should come out because they need to cool before we can blend them. So I'm going to go ahead and, since our pan is heating up, get them out of there. Now see, that's what I was talking about. Oh, you can't see because it's on the wrong angle. This is what I was talking about with purple color. The eggplants have gone completely brown. The purple in eggplant is not stable. I think the purple in that purple basil is a stable pigment, though. At least with my testing. We want to get those guys off the pan pretty post-haste so that they have the best chance to cool. And in fact, our board is not doing anything right now. And a wooden board is heat safe. So don't stick, don't stick. It's stuck. Okay. We aggressively oiled this pan and it still wants to stick. Fortunately, it's a metal pan, so I can get my scraper. I put the... Damn it. Stop putting the pot holders back in the drawer. What's wrong with you? You know you need them. Okay. Okay. And our burger flipper here actually is the perfect scraper for this because it's got a offset handle and a thin edge. And here they are. Beautifully charred on the top. Nice and squishy. We're going to set them out of the way on the board. Space them out a little bit so they have the best chance to cool off. They need to cool off just enough that they can be handled. We don't need them to be ice cold. We don't even need them to room temperature. They just need to be handleable because I need to scoop the innards out with my fingies, and they're currently much too hot for that. My delicate fingies will not survive. While we're over here, oh, we're not over here. While we're over here, the pan is probably a little bit too hot because the drops of water are supposed to dance for a moment. And they're not quite dancing for a moment. They're just kind of sizzling away. So I think we overheated just a bit. So we'll take that temperature down just a tick, add our drizzle of oil, swirl it around. The oil will help take up a little bit of the heat as well. And we're going to start the process Okay, the oil is flowing but coating well, and that's a good temperature to have it at. So we're going to start making these guys. I know I can use a spoon to scoop, but I have to hold it with my hand. I'm not digging my fingers in to scoop it out, but I got to hold the other side with my hand to get in there. So I want... We're making a pita. I don't want to leave this one alone just yet. Besides, we have a little bit of time because I still have to make the pitas. We're in the stage of making pitas. I think I put too much oil in there because we're getting a sizzle when we're supposed to get not a sizzle. I'm not talking about digging in with my fingers. Okay, our top surface is bubbling. I'm going to grab another ball and start rolling it over here while we start that guy. And then it should only take a couple of minutes on each side to make our pitas. Bubbles, bubbles, bubbles. It's looking a little like fry bread. It's looking a little bit like a fry bread. I might actually mop up some oil with a paper towel real quick, because it's I think it's a little too oily in the pan. This is the dangerous part. I expected the first one to be a little bit weird on account of the... it's the same thing that happens with pancakes. It's the pancake curse. The pan's not quite ready when you put your first one in, and you don't realize it. But that guy does not look great to me. I'm going to mop up that extra oil. It's also not forming a nice balloon. It's just forming a flat. That side looks better. We're gonna get a plate ready to catch them. I think this first one's just gonna be a sacrifice to the old pancake gods, even though these aren't pancakes. I also might have rolled this one out a little bit too thin, so it didn't have space in the middle to poof. It's like soft to the touch. Or maybe I just need to watch back my original video and figure out what I did. It could be a case of just I had it right the first time. I just need to go back and do it. Do it right. I can talk. I swear. Besides, we have plenty of time to cool the baba ganoush, the eggplants for the baba ganoush, because again, the rest of that recipe is just blending it together. There's no additional cooking. So it can wait until I need it. This guy doesn't seem to be cooking anymore, so I'm going to take him out. He can be our sacrifice to the pan. And we'll do it. Again, I rolled out another one while we were waiting. And I will do that again. Grab another roll. Dust everything up. And while it's getting started, I will just roll out the next one. I also think I overrolled that first one because it was a little bit of a smaller ball and I was trying to hit a width on it. See, what we want to do is for these bubbles that form to combine into bigger bubbles so that the whole thing can poof up and form that pita pocket in the middle, which we didn't get in that first one. And I'm going to give this one a couple extra minutes to see if it can't manage it. Oh, 30 seconds. It's actually got instructions. 30 seconds, flip it. Cook for 1 to 2 minutes on this side, and then flip it back and cook it for 1 to 2 minutes on the other side. Try pressing gently. Interesting. Okay. I didn't read that part. Oh, it actually even says, drizzle a tiny bit of olive oil and wipe off any excess. It even specifies in the recipe, wipe off any excess oil. So the pan is supposed to be oiled just barely. This guy is nice and soft. He looks a little bit like a fry bread on that side because there was too much oil in the pan. This one definitely does not look like a fry bread. It's got a much more like dappled surface to it. The next one, I'm going to follow the directions verbatim. See if we can't get these guys to actually poof up. Helpfully, I've got a little timer running because the stream just times itself all the time. So I've got a little timer running in the corner that I can use for 30 seconds and a minute. Ooh, this one smells better too. Okay, okay. Those are our toasty spots. We're getting these are very flat. We're not getting the puff, which makes me a little bit sad because that was so exciting last time when we got them to just balloon up. But we'll try the next one absolutely verbatim to the recipe, and go from there. Oh, so this is going to be probably my lunch today. What are you folks having? Anything fun? Anything interesting? Jen dropped some food photos in the Discord. What are those? Cherry scones. I love seeing other people's food. That's the biggest reason to have a Discord, is just so that I can see your food. Okay, well, we've got, it's about as toasty as I want to get it on that side, so we're going to take that one off. Okay, third attempt. Watch our timer. Let it land for 30 seconds on this side, and then flip it. It should start to bubble on this side, and then it should continue bubbling on the other side. Hopefully that gives us our nice poofy pocket in the middle. The bubbles are forming. That's our 30 seconds. I'm standing over here looking at it from a distance, willing it to be good. We'll grab another ball. Get the next one ready. It's a little bit puffier. It's been in there a minute. Let's give it a minute and a half before I flip it back. Definitely, this one's definitely puffed more than the first two already. I'm gonna have to watch back my my original pita thing, because that one was very exciting because they worked so well. That's been a minute and a half. Let's give it a flippy flop. It looks like a pita on this side. I can see a little seam in the middle, and I'm worried that that might be from my... Ooh, 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 it's doing it! It's doing it! It... Well, it half did it. You see, it's risen on this side. There's a little crease right in the middle, and I think that might be from my weird kneading. But it's doing it. Okay. Okay, okay. That's the first one that we've actually got a pocket in. This is so fun. I love making these things. Okay, okay. That quick flip at the beginning is definitely important. I think that's what was screwing us up on the second one, was I left it too long on the first side. Okay. It's not a perfect balloon, but it's definitely got a little half balloon. So we're getting there. We're getting there. I need to. This would have been the perfect opportunity for that mister, because you just need a tiny little spritz of oil. You do not need much at all. And it's much easier to control that with a little mister than with the bottle. This guy's probably done. Yeah, he's got nice brown spotting on both sides. So we're going to say he's done. And we're going to slap the next one in. Give him 30 seconds. Okay. I think I've got the rhythm here. You put one in, you wait 30 seconds, you flip it. Then you roll out the next one. I was letting too many bubbles form on this side before flipping it. You want them to, I guess you want them to just start. You want them to just start forming. So that they don't seal in their own edges before you can get them to combine. I think that's what's happening. Because you want them to, like I said at the very beginning, you want the bubbles to grow to the point where they start to merge into each other. And that's where you get your pita pocket. It's all the bubbles in your bread combined into one big bubble. And don't roll it too thin. I also think I was doing them a little bit too thin. Okay. This is going great. This is going great. I'm happy. Like the guy with the plague in Monty Python. I feel happy. I can see we've got a partial bubble forming here, a partial pocket forming here already. If we give her a flipperoo, that's been 1.5 minutes. It said 1 to 2 minutes. Now you went for 1.5 minutes as right in the middle. Let's give it the full 2 and then flip it and see if we can get it a little bit of a nicer pocket. What I need to do is get a feel for how I need to get a feel for it. I can see steam coming out on the edge. I think we may have broken the pocket that time. I think we may have gone a little bit too far. 2 minutes is definitely too long. Because we had I think that last one was just about perfect. So we're gonna go for 1.5 minutes as our targets. And air slightly low, because I think my pan is a little bit hot. I can see over here the bubble there, the bubble there, and the bubble there. All 3 of them have a little break where they burned through their bubble, so they couldn't combine. So then we had a steam escape because they were okay. I'm getting a feel for it. I'm getting a feel for it. They're very pillowy soft, regardless of whether or not they poof up. They are pillowy, soft bread. It's a pillowy, soft flatbread. Okay. Watch this one. Oop. I'm overbalancing my dough balls. The dough balls have continued to rise over here as well. Because it's taken us a minute to do this. That's my 30 seconds. Okay. Rolled out the next one. We got a little bit of flaking from the pan there. I don't really like the looks of that. I hope it's not bits of my I hope it's bits of burned flour and not bits of my seasoning coming off, because that would mean I'd have to reseason the pan. We're developing a little bit of a poof. So in my interests of trying to learn this, I'm going to flip it now, assuming that that is the poof I was looking for. Oh, 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 oh. It started. Did you see it kind of rise up from this side? Sort of rise toward the... We're getting half. We're getting half poofs. I like the looks of this one better anyways. It's a little bit less toasted. That last one was a little bit too toasty. 2 minutes is definitely too long. Add in 2 seconds, 1 second. The ad is starting soon. Okay, okay. I think I just need to practice this, and that's the whole issue. It's just I think we're very close. I just need to practice it, and I need to review what I did last time because I did it so well last time. I don't think I had this scraper last time either. We're going to take that one off. I think that was just carbonized bits of flour stuck to the pan, because I don't see any breaks in my seasoning. We're going to do the big one. One of these ended up bigger than the others, and one of them ended up smaller than the others. It's a little bit too late to combine them now. Ooh, that stuck immediately. Okay. And not rolling them out excessively also seems to be helping. Oop, I forgot I was going to pay attention and flip these guys at the right times. Pay attention and flip them at the right times. Okay, okay, okay. Whew. Less giddy excitement than I was expecting. We're having a little struggle with the poofs today. Somebody followed. Oh, somebody followed me. Huh. I got a follower on Thursday, which is weird because I wasn't streaming on Thursday. They will definitely still taste good. That's not the issue. It's just, it's so exciting when they actually do the whole balloon thing. It's great. You know, it's exciting to see the process work. Come on, bud. I wonder if I shouldn't have done them as 6 balls, and then I could roll them out a little bit thicker. I wonder if they're just too thin, and that's what's happening. There's not enough interior to them. Well, here's the thing. When I made them the last time, they were so good that I was like, I have to make these more often because I've never liked store-bought pita bread. I find it bad. And when I made it last time, which was with the shakshuka, I believe, I made it because it was the correct accompaniment, but I wasn't expecting to enjoy it. I made it because it's what you're supposed to have with that dish, but I didn't expect to like really enjoy it. And then they were so good, which makes me wonder what the heck is the store-bought pita breads doing, because theirs are so not good. Fly, what are you doing here? There's always flies. All week long, I don't see a single fly. And then when I start cooking, they come in and say hi. That one also did not poof as I was hoping. But since they are so delicious, and they're not hard to make, that's the thing. There's no baking involved. It's just using the griddle. So in theory, I could probably put the dough balls all in the fridge and just make them as needed. You could probably freeze this dough. You could probably freeze this dough, and then you could just make like 2 for yourself. It even says on this recipe, if stored properly, the dough will keep in the fridge for a week. If you don't want to bake all 8 pitas on the same day, you can bake 1 or 2 and save the rest. Again, just reading the page that I've gotten this from. The Mediterranean dish. Good on you, Mediterranean dish. You've got all these notes and like helpful things. I can make a couple batches of this and then take the stored dough with me to a party, and then we could make the pitas fresh on site. That'd be fun. Maybe. Last dough ball. Since I'm not saving them, we're just going to go with all the dough balls. Oops. Overfloured that a little bit. This is the small one, so we're going to roll this one out extra small. It's going to be our last one. It's going to perch on top of our stack in a little bit of extra smallness. And then, that's the last we need of the flour tower. All of our ingredients for the baba ganoush itself are ready. And all we need to do is combine them. I think all of our ingredients are ready. We still have to juice the lemon, which I will do. And we've got tahini. I've got tahini. Just need to get it out. Tahini. Not to be confused with tahine, which is a very, very different thing, which I also have, which actually would be a good... Ooh. Tahine in Baba Ghanoush would be a wild departure, would be a wild cultural mashup. But, you know, thinking about it, that might be a really good flavor addition in place of the Aleppo, because it's a sour chili flake. It's this stuff, tahine, not to be confused with tahini. I am unclear as to what I've done so differently this time with the pitas. Maybe I just got really lucky the first time. Oh well. They are still like beautifully pillowy soft. Which is the biggest issue. Oh well. That one looks good. Good enough. I'm a little disappointed. A little disappointed that we haven't gotten those nice poofs. We have one last chance. Let's, with the smallest one I've got. Definitely getting a little bit of charred flour sticking to the surfaces now as it builds up in the pan a little bit. So probably didn't want to make any more than this anyways, otherwise we'd have a little bits of charred flour on a lot more of them. It does brush off, so I can get rid of it for the pictures. Okay, we're forming our bubbles. Get under it, give it a flip. Give it a minute. I'm still hopeful that this one, it's our last one, but I'm still hopeful that this one will be the one to balloon up properly. It won't form the balloon until the second flip. Lightly spritz some water on the pita to poof it. We can try a different method next time. It's a little too late now. Come on. Nope, this one's not doing anything. Oh well. My pita won't poof. I will do some research. Fly, what are you doing? Where'd it even come from? Ugh. Okay. Okay, well, we had 2 of them half poof. And I was very excited that we were improving along the way, but the remainder did not poof. And this is our last one, and it's not poofed. Oh well. Oh well. Let me clean off my board a little bit here. Get the flour off my rolling pin. I will just have to practice this more because I really like these homemade pitas. I really like these homemade pitas. Well, I liked them last time. I guess I'll have to taste them this time, see if I still like them. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll hate them. Maybe I'll be like, ew, pitas are gross now. The last one was quite a bit smaller than the other ones, so it's had the least chance, but I mean, ugh. Let me get my bench scraper. We're going to come back over to the countertop. The pan is cooling off. We're going to finish our project. Just take Okay, we're going to finish our project. Eggplant returns. We need a bowl for mixing. That also should be a bowl for serving. Fortunately, you can't see the fact that they're unpoofed once they're not hot, because the pocket deflates naturally. So I don't think we need the same bowl for serving. I think we're just going to use one of these casseroles for mixing and then transfer it into a nicer bowl for actual serving. These guys are plenty cool to handle, so I can get the goop out of them. Goop. The way the recipe said the best way to do this is it's actually to roast them over an actual fire, because then the skins get really crisp and you can just kind of peel them off with your fingers. Whereas if you roast them in the oven, you need to use a spoon to relieve them of the skins. Nice and soft though. They're coming out of the skins real easy. Skins don't need to remain intact for this, but this would be a neat thing if you needed the skins for something. And I have in fact seen recipes that call for intact eggplant skins. So It was a Julia Child recipe, actually. It used the rest of the eggplant, but it also used... It was very, very clear that you didn't want to damage your eggplant skins because the eggplant skins were used to line the because the thing was going to be baked again after the eggplants were added to it. And the skins of the eggplants were used as a liner. It was Julia Child's weird American French version of moussaka. And I don't think it looked anything like an actual moussaka. We should make moussaka. We should make a moussaka. I love that stuff. That stuff's great. Not weird French hybrid moussaka, though. Get all of our delicious eggplanty innards outered here. I don't have any use for the skins right now. They're probably going to go in the trash because they're kind of tough and plasticky. Rinse my fingers. These eggplants are a little bit on the smaller side, but that's okay because that's more similar to an Italian eggplant than an American eggplant anyways. I think if you were going for an American eggplant, you would want to select ones that are on the slightly smaller side because the American globe eggplants can get really massive. And this is a little bit of a smaller thing. And as I've said a couple times, there's no more cooking involved in this thing. Don't worry if your stupid of skin remain. That's just added flavor. That's for the charred over open fire version. And then what you do is you grab a fork and you kind of mash it. And it should mash pretty easily into like a goop. This step, make eggplant goop. It's the goopiest. And then we're going to add stuff to it. My tahini, which always wants to separate, so we're going to have to get a... I'm going to rinse this spoon off and use this spoon since it's already ready and it's a larger tablespoon size spoon. Because we need some tahini in here. That much, and then probably about that much again. Recipe calls for 4 tablespoons. My tablespoon measure, first of all, can't get down in this container, and second of all, isn't strong enough to get into the separated, slightly hardened tahini. So eyeball it. Our mashed but raw garlic, which is going to give us a strong garlicky flavor in here. Our lemon zest, which in this case is standing in for, let's save a little bit of it if I can get it off the top. Okay. We're saving a little bit of the lemon zest. I want to put it on the top. Lemon juice. Now we juice our lemon. Oh, seedless lemon. That's convenient. We need the entire lemon in here. I don't think this lemon was a seedless variety. I just think it happens to be a seedless one. Because they weren't being advertised as seedless lemons. They were just being advertised as lemons. Gotta really ream your lemon. It did not call for the pulp of the lemon. It only wanted the juice. But, whatever. I'm not about to go through the trouble of carefully separating it. The pulp is going to be just some added roughage. Salt, pepper, sumac. We don't have the sumac. That's what the lemon zest is for. We're going to add a little bit of paprika. It doesn't want very much Aleppo, so we're not going to add much paprika. We're going to add just a dash of cayenne. Just a dash. We don't need much. That's now standing for our Aleppo. Some salt and some black pepper. Some salt. Some black pepper. And fun addition. Yogurt, optional. Just a tablespoon. I don't have any yogurt. But I found this. Kefir. It was on super sale, but it's good through August, so I'm not sure why it's on super sale. It is, of course, a lot runnier than a yogurt, but it's got that same kind of flavor, and it should give us a creaminess. So I'm going to add our 1 tablespoon of that. It's not exactly the same, but it has a similar flavor profile to yogurts. And then we mash this all together until everything is homogeneous. I might even hit it with my stick blender. Those tahini clumps are a little hard to get through. might hit it with my stick blender because I didn't quite mash my eggplant into a really I didn't get rid of all the little fibery bits of the eggplant. But we'll see how it looks once I'm through stirring it with the fork here. Once I'm finding these clumps of tahini and breaking them apart with the fork. Because we're down to the bottom of the thing of tahini, so it's always separates, and then you can combine it, but right at the very bottom is the part that never really seems to want to recombine, and when you get down there, it's almost hardened because it's been separated for so long. Nope, there's another one. There's another one right there. I don't think I need to hit it with the stick blender, actually. It's looking pretty good as is. I might, in fact, grab the whisk. The normal-sized whisk. I'm supposed to put a little bit of olive oil in here, too. Garlic, lemon. Oh, no, the olive oil goes on top. And the pine nuts go on top. I'm going to add a little bit of... going to add some of our purple basil. It was the purpose of this, after all. Get that in there. That is super not tradition. It's going to give us little bits. Okay, it sure looks like a bowl of goop. Which is why there are plating tricks for it. We're going to transfer it into this bowl for service. And we're going to attempt to pretty it up because it kind of looks like a big bowl of dog barf right now. Many tasty... Okay, you know what? We're going to downsize that bowl because I want to fill the bowl up pretty well. So we're going to downsize that bowl. Or do we want to do a shallower dish? Shallower and wider? Dish deciding time. Shallower and wider. It's also pale. So we could, in fact, use the dark brown olive motif, which fits the Mediterranean theme. I think we're going to go with this one. Shallower and wider. It gives me more room to decorate the top. It's a pale colored thing, so it stands out against the dark plate. And whenever I use this bowl, people say, "Ooh, I love that bowl." And none of this shall go to waste. Oh, I missed an ad starting again. I have not been paying attention to the ads today. And then to pretty this up, we kind of level the surface. Some foods are just a bowl of goop, but you can still pretty them up. So you kind of level the surface, and then you, like, disrupt it. So there's little creases and valleys. So that when you drizzle your olive oil over the top, it kind of forms patterns. Garnish with some pine nuts. They are blending in. This is where the pomegranate arrows will be really good. They would stand out. Which is why I'm going to use the. Thank you for the moisten. I'm out of beverage. I need to get more channel point redeems, but I'm not sure what to do with them. I'm sure you all have more points than you could possibly spend at this point, because I don't have anything to spend them on. Moist. Let's give ourselves a decorative topping of. Problem is, it's fresh lemon zest, so it's slightly sticky, so it wants to clump. And for some color, this stuff. And get one that's especially decorative. There. A basil flower. Well, that's the thing. That's Baba Ganoush. Oh my god, tens of thousands of points. Okay, I need to come up with things to spend points on. Clearly. Clearly. My camera. The pita wants to be on a better plate. We're going to go with the stripy square plate and kind of array them. But I want to keep the gnarly looking ones at the bottom so we can't really see them. We take one of the nice ones and we tear it clean in half. I just need more things in general to spend the points on. I've only got one custom one, and that's first, and that's not even a good idea. That's just somebody shows up and says first. Let's get photos taken, and then I'll come back and I will taste this caviar l'aubergine. Everyone's favorite caviar, the one l'aubergine. Okay. Yes, interactable things is definitely what I need to go for. You are correct. Things that cause me, or perhaps the channel, automatic stuff. You can do that without bots now. There's native support for point redeems. Or maybe it's just bit alerts. I'll have to check up on that. But yes, interactive things. Things to encourage people to actually like pay attention. Because you guys are never paying attention. Okay, let's give this a taste with our fresh, warm, beautiful, unpoofed pita. And you just kind of tear it off and you dive in. I'm going to go for a middle piece. Mmm. 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 It's creamy. It's lemony. Quite a bit of lemon going on there. But it's got this lovely sort of rich creaminess to it. Which doesn't feel like in your mouth like a tahini creaminess. Mm. The pine nuts give it a little bit of crunch, which is good because the rest of this is very much a one textured sort of goop. I'm not getting any heat from the pepper, so I think we may have gone a little bit too gently on that. I'm not sure if I can taste the basil or not. The flavors of the rest of the thing are actually quite strong. I'm going to try to scoop with just a lot of basil right on the surface. See how that interacts. Okay, yeah. When you scoop right into the basil, you can taste the basil. I would actually add a bit more of that, but it's nice to have it as a sort of variation instead of just in every bite. So you have the nuts on one side and the basil on the other side, and the little pools of olive oil. And that means each time you dip in, well, this one poofed. Look, it didn't poof all the way, but we definitely got a pocket in there. Homemade pita bread is, even when it doesn't poof, is so good. The flavor is hard to describe. Eggplant doesn't have a lot of flavor to begin with, but it is the vast bulk of this is eggplant. So you're getting a little bit of that eggplant in there. And because we roasted it until it was just like spoon soft and then mushed it together, it's giving us this, it's giving us the body of this. It's giving us this creaminess. The tahini, I think, is what's giving us the sort of almost dairy-like creaminess. We did add a little bit of the kefir to this as well, and that's probably, even though it was only a tablespoon, I think we're getting I'm getting the tang, because there's the sharpness of the lemon, but there's also this sort of tang behind it. And I think that the only thing in there that, because we didn't put any sumac in, the only other thing in there that would give us that tang is the kefir. So I would say don't skip that part unless you're dairy intolerant. And even then, it's only a tablespoon in there. It's a tiny, tiny bit. So, once you get below these sort of topping layers, it is a little bit one note. The note that it is one note's the wrong thing. It has complexity. It's not one note. It has complexity, but it is very all the same thing. But having like a spot with some basil and a spot with some pine nuts and a spot with a pool of olive oil means that each scoop can be slightly different. I think I forgot while I was doing it. I think I would reserve more of the lemon zest to put on the top, and I think I would really like to put some sumac on the top as well. And next time, I will really try to find pomegranate, because I think having that sharp and fruity flavor would be another really good counterpoint to the rest of this. I also think I probably should have toasted the pine nuts. At the moment, I can't really taste them. They're giving me these texture in there, which is nice, because otherwise this is a lot of mush. But I think that if they were toasted, you'd get a little bit of a, toasty, smoky burst. It would also be nice to try this with the eggplant roasted over fire to give it that smokier flavor. Obviously, I have an electric stove. I don't have an open flame. I can't do that easily. But I think that would give you a very different flavor, all told. I like this. This is very good. Is it deserving of the name? You know what it actually needs? You know what it actually needs? Is just a pinch of salt. It wasn't salted up until the mixing stage, and the thing just says salt to taste. And I think it needs a little bit more. For my taste, it needs a little bit more. Yes, it would go well with like a sliced fresh tomato and some olives. This would be good in a larger setting with some other things. It is very good on its own, but it feels like it wants to be on the table with something else. That's where it kind of lands. We have an ad in progress. I'm gonna come back from the ad and then rate us off because it's going on one. So yeah, it's good. It needs to be paired with something. I don't think it needs something on its own, but I think it needs to be paired with something. I don't know what a barberry is. You've stumped me. What's a barberry? I still don't know what this is. I've never seen this before. Huh. I cannot picture the flavor because I've never even seen this fruit before. So I will have to take your word for it. But yeah, I would say toasted pine nuts. Get some pomegranate arils for this. I like the basil. It's not traditional, but I actually quite like the flavor of the basil counterpointing this because the rest of this has no herbiness to it. There's no other herbs in there. I think you're supposed to put parsley on it as the like herb option. I think that's the traditional like herb that's added at the end, which would give us some green on the plate. But I went with the basil because I had a lot of the basil. We have some green basil too. We could just throw some green basil on there. But having something that's sort of fresh and herby on the top definitely is important for balancing this out. It's good. I don't know if I'll actually eat this whole thing because it's quite strongly flavored, and you take little scoops of it. And so I guess we're saving it. It's supposed to save quite well as well, which is good. Because you could potentially, if you've got like a big windfall of eggplants, you could make a big batch of this and then store it. Oh, what to serve with it? Again, this website. I'm going to shout this website out. The Mediterranean Dish, both of our recipes today came from them, and it is quite a good recipe website for the things that are on it because it has tips, it has pairings, it has all sorts of things that a lot of other recipes sites sort of skip, and they're not embedded in the giant paragraph. It's pretty like straightforward bullet points. This is how you do this. This is this step. Here's a note. Goes over here. Easy to follow. My kind of website. My kind of recipe site for sure. As part of a platter, alongside lamb chops or kebabs or shawarma. You can use it as a condiment or a dip. Good stuff. Well, I hope you learned something. We're well past noon. We're almost pushing to 1 today. These Saturday ones are going longer and longer. So we are going to. Oops. We are going to raid off to somebody, drop off our few remaining viewers somewhere else. And then I'm going to enjoy this while the pitas are still fresh and warm because that's the best way. They'll still be good for several days. This nice, sort of beautiful, pillowy softness. But they're even better when they're warm. So, who are we going to... Let's mute that tab. Okay. Kind of have an odd selection here. I'm going to drop us off in a place that I don't think we've ever been, but it's a game we've seen before. We're going to go see Alistair, who is playing, once again, Dave the Diver, which came out recently, and I want to play it, so I'm not going to watch a ton of it, because I don't want spoilers. I haven't played it myself yet. It's a game about running a sushi restaurant and diving for your own fish, and then there's a story and a mystery and a sea monster and all sorts of stuff. It starts out you're running a sushi restaurant and you're diving for fish. And I'm going to dump all the remaining basil on our thing here because otherwise it'll go to waste. I hope you learned something. I say if you've never done it before and you've got some eggplants, or even if you don't have some eggplants, because they are coming into season now, give baba ganoush a try. It looks like a bowl of tan goop, which it is, but it's very tasty tan goop. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here. Glad to see you. And let's carry on. I don't know where that sentence was going. Bye.